Hello everyone, I hope you all are good, and today is the final day of our 10-day long series, and today we are going to discuss the difference between an open source model and a closed source model. So before starting with that, I want to thank you all for being with me for the entire 10-day long journey, and I will be posting more such videos and series. I'll be starting a new series again on the YouTube channel. So if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, the link is in the description. You can check out my YouTube channel and you can subscribe to it so that you don't miss out any updates. So let us just start with the video. Okay, so now we will understand the difference between an open source model and a closed source model. Now, what is an open source and a closed source model? Let us just understand with the definition first. So, open source model is a model where the source code and sometimes the trained weights are publicly available for the developers and researchers. So, when your model or when a model is publicly available for the users to use it is known as an open source model. Now, anyone can so what if a model is an open source, what can the model do basically? So anyone can download it, anyone can modify it, anyone can fine tune it and deploy it on their own system. So this is what we can do if the model is an open source model. So example of an open source model is it is a BERT from Google. This is an open source model. Also we have Mistral from Mistral. So these are some of the open source model. Now moving on to the closed source model. What is a closed source model basically? Closed source model is a model in where an internal code and architecture of the training data are not publicly available for the users. So what happens in a closed source model? In closed source model, you are able to use the model, but you are not able to look into the code, that how the model is being trained, what are the training data is given to the model, how the model is being trained, what is the code of the entire model. So we are not going to see that is not available for us. That is known as a closed source model. So users can only access it through the APIs and official platforms. So this is known as an closed source model. For example is GPT-4 by OpenAI, Claude by Anthropic, and Gemini by Google. So these are the closed source models. We can use them, but using an API key. And also we cannot see any code or any training data that they have been worked or been trained on. So this is known as a closed source model. Now, what are the advantages of an open source and a closed source model? So advantage of an open source model is basically, so this is for an open source model. Open source model. What are the advantages? Advantage is that we have the full control of the model. You can modify it, you can fine tune it, you can do everything with the model. You can modify and customize it. The models are basically free and low cost and can be run locally. So this is the basic advantage of an open source model. They are really very helpful for us to even like do your small practicals or mega projects. Now disadvantage of the model is that it requires technical knowledge. You have to, if you are using an open source model, it is really important for you to have a technical knowledge to understand the model more deeply. Second is need your own infrastructure. You have to have your own infrastructure built to use them. Now third is security risk and if not managed properly. So there are some security risk as well with the open source models. Now what is the different advantage and disadvantage of a closed source model? Advantages of closed source model. This is for the closed source model. The advantage of a closed source model is that they perform very well. They are high performance models. No infrastructure is required for you to use them. That is, they are easily usable by using an API key. You just have to integrate the API key in your project or system and they are usable. Second is known as, now the last is the managed security and update. So these are the advantages of a closed model. Third, what is the disadvantage of a closed source model? The limitation. Of course, whenever you have like used ChatGPT or even you have used Gemini, you always get a quota limit, right? You get a quota limit because they have some limitations. So that is the disadvantage. Second is usage limit, that is the API pricing. Again, that you have to give the usage cost is been put on to the models when you are using them. Third is no access to the internal working. So you don't have any access of the working, that how the model is working, what was the code integrated, how they have been trained. So you don't have any of the access to these models. So this is the basic difference between an open source and a closed source model. So I hope you liked the video and I hope you understood the basic difference between what is an open source and a closed source model and when you can use them. So you can use open source models when you are making your own projects. And if you're working with an organization, they already provide you the credentials of a closed source model so that you can use them more precisely for their work. So that is what an open source and closed source model is. And I hope you like the video. If you like the video, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. I have mentioned the description. I have mentioned the link in the description. So that's it for this video. Stay tuned for the next new series. So that's it for this video. Till then, bye. See you in the next videos.